Many people's methods of curing cyclamens are incorrect because they do not understand the habits of cyclamens. So how can we take care cyclamens well? Hello, I'm Wan Tree. Today I'll show you in detail maintenance techniques of cyclamen so that you can understand their habits. Let's go. This is a cyclamen. Firstly, lighting requirements. Many people think that cyclamens are sun-loving plants and prefer to keep them outdoors, but this is actually wrong because cyclamens are not resistant to strong sunlight. Intense exposure not only causes sunburn, but also shortens the flowering time. But it also needs sunlight. It likes soft light, so keeping it by a bright window would be a good choice, which will increase its flowering time. The second point is watering. How to water cyclamens? Cyclamens are afraid of watering too much, otherwise it can easily lead to root rot. Therefore, before watering each time, we need to touch the soil with our hands. If the soil is damp, do not water it. But if the soil is very dry, we can water it. Watering in this way ensures that every watering is just when it needs water, which in line with its growth habits. And when watering, pay attention to watering as much as possible next to the flower pot. Do not let the water touch its flowers, otherwise it will shorten the flowering time. In addition, if there is a tray at the bottom of the flower pot, be careful to avoid water accumulation in the pot. If there is water accumulation, quickly pour it out, otherwise it will cause root rot. The third point is to change the flower pot. Many people make mistakes when it comes to changing flower pots, and once they make the mistake, it can easily lead to the death of cyclamens. There are three common mistakes that people make. The first one is that choosing a pot that is too large is a mistake. Cyclamens do not need a pot that is too large, as a pot that is too large can lead to excessive soil accumulation and easy root rot. A smaller pot is more suitable for cyclamens. The second mistake is to immediately change the pots of newly purchased cyclamens. This is not correct because after buying them, the cyclamens have not yet adapted to the family environment, and changing pots will disrupt their growth rhythm. Therefore, after buying them, it is necessary to keep them at home for at least 1 month before changing pots. The third mistake is changing pots with flowers. Changing pots with flowers can cause significant damage to plants. If you really want to change pots, you must wait until the flowers have withered before doing so. You cannot change pots with flowers. The fourth point is ventilation. Maintaining cyclamens requires a breathable environment, and places with fresh air circulation are easier to maintain. On the contrary, if you keep cyclamens in a closed environment, such as an enclosed indoor or balcony, they are prone to yellowing and decay. But what if our home has a closed balcony? So your cyclamens must be placed close to the window to get more fresh air and reduce the amount of watering, because watering too much in enclosed air can easily cause water accumulation and root rot. Finally, if you need you need to frequently open windows for ventilation and allow the air in your home to circulate regularly, which will have a great positive effect on its growth. Fifth point, fertilization. Usually, newly purchased cyclamens are in bloom and do not need to be fertilized during the flowering period, as the more fertilizer you apply, the easier it is to shorten their flowering time. After the flowers wither, we need to fertilize the cyclamens. Just sprinkle some compost fertilizer into the flower pot. Once a month is enough. Sixth point, maintenance in winter and summer. Cyclamens are relatively cold resistant and generally do not freeze to death in winter as long as the ambient temperature is above 0 degrees Celsius. But cyclamens are very afraid of heat. When the temperature exceeds 35 degrees Celsius, cyclamens will exhibit false death, manifested as flowers withering and leaves wilting. At this time, you must not think that it has died. During this period, we only need to reduce the amount of water poured and move it to a well-ventilated and cool place. When the temperature drops, it will sprout again and come back to life. Seventh point, how to trim. To maintain good cyclamens, we need to learn 3 trimming techniques. Firstly, trim off the fallen flowers, as they can affect the growth of other flowers, like this. Secondly, trim off the dead leaves hidden at the bottom of the pot, like this. Trim it, which can affect the soil's ventilation. Thirdly, if the cyclamens bear fruit, we need to trim these fruits in a timely manner, as they consume a large amount of nutrients and affect the future growth of cyclamens. Okay, that's all for the video. I hope it's helpful to you. I'm Wan Tree. Goodbye.